Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another AI Revenue Engine Masterclass. In our last session, we discussed preparing your workforce for AI success. Today, we are taking the next step. Once your people are ready, the next executive challenge is deciding what to do first. This is where many organizations struggle. They have dozens of AI ideas, multiple vendors, enthusiastic departments, and growing executive expectations. Yet, despite all that activity, leaders often tell me they still aren't sure where to begin. That's because activity is not the same as direction. Transformation requires a roadmap that helps everyone move forward toward the same business outcomes. I'm Bhuvat Shakti, and I help organizations use AI to grow revenue with less friction by improving workflows, operations, governance, and executive decision making. Throughout nearly 3 decades leading transformation programs across financial services and technology, I've learned that organizations rarely fail because they don't have enough ideas. They struggle because they attempt too many initiatives at the same time. Resources become stretched, priorities compete, departments work independently, and leadership loses visibility into what is creating real business value. A roadmap isn't simply a project plan. It's a leadership tool that creates focus, alignment, and accountability across the organization. Here are the themes for today. AI transformation requires a clear roadmap. Leadership determines transformation success. Priorities drive better business outcomes. Sequence change before you scale. And roadmaps turn strategy into execution. Ask your leadership team, if we stopped every AI initiative except one, which project would create the greatest long term business value? The discussion often reveals whether leadership truly shares the same priorities. One of the biggest patterns I see is organizations confusing momentum with progress. At first, everything feels exciting. New AI tools are introduced, pilot programs begin, innovation teams share success stories, and executives announce ambitious transformation goals. But after several months, momentum starts to slow. Departments become overwhelmed with competing priorities, employees struggle to understand changing expectations, and executives begin asking whether investments are actually improving business performance. The problem isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of coordinated direction. Most organizations unintentionally allow AI initiatives to develop independently. Marketing wants personalization, operation wants automation, finance wants forecasting, HR focuses on workforce capability, while IT concentrates on infrastructure. Every initiative may be valuable on its own, but without executive coordination, they compete for budget, talent, and leadership attention. Instead of building one transformation, the organization ends up managing multiple disconnected projects that never fully reinforce one another. That's why roadmaps matter. A roadmap forces executive teams to make deliberate choices. It answers questions like what comes first, which initiatives create the strongest foundation, which projects depend on others being completed first, what capabilities need to exist before scaling AI across the enterprise. Strong organizations don't succeed because they do more. They succeed because they know what not to do yet. A global retailer launched separate AI initiatives for pricing, inventory management, and customer support. Each department reported progress, but projects competed for data resources and created inconsistent customer experiences. Executive leadership paused expansion, established shared priorities, and reorganized the work into a single enterprise roadmap. Within 1 year, implementation costs declined while customer satisfaction improved. Your leadership action is to list every active AI initiative across your organization, then ask which initiatives are reinforcing one another and which are competing for the same people, budget, or attention. Now, whenever executives ask me where they should begin their AI transformation, I introduce the AIRE AI Transformation Roadmap. Rather than thinking about AI as one large implementation, this framework breaks transformation into 5 connected stages. The goal isn't to complete every phase as quickly as possible. The goal is to make better executive decisions at each stage before moving to the next. This helps organizations reduce unnecessary complexity while building a strong foundation for long term success. The first stage is discover. This is where leaders identify business problems worth solving rather than searching for technology to deploy. Next comes prioritize, where executive teams evaluate opportunities based on strategic importance, business value, organizational readiness, and available resources. The third stage is prepare. This includes workforce readiness, governance, leadership alignment, workflow redesign, and operational planning. Only after those foundations are in place does the organization move into execute, where initiatives are implemented, measured, and refined. Finally comes scale. This is where successful approaches are expanded across departments while maintaining governance, performance, and organizational alignment. One important point I'd like to emphasize is that organizations often rush from discovery directly into execution because they feel pressure to move quickly. Ironically, that usually slows transformation over time. The strongest organizations spend more time making thoughtful decisions before implementation begins. A roadmap creates discipline. It encourages executives to ask whether the organization is truly ready for the next stage rather than assuming that technology alone will solve every challenge. A healthcare provider initially planned to deploy AI across 6 clinical functions simultaneously. Using a phased roadmap, leadership instead focused first on administrative workflows, then workforce preparation, and only later expanded into patient facing initiatives. This phased approach reduced implementation risk, improved staff confidence, and produced measurable operational improvements before broader deployment. Your leadership action is to identify which of the 5 roadmap stages best describes your organization today. Don't focus on where you want to be, focus on where you actually are. That single decision should guide leadership every priority over the next several months. One of the biggest mistakes organizations make is asking, where can we use AI before asking, what business problem are we trying to solve? AI should never become the strategy, it should support the strategy. Every initiative should begin with a clearly defined business objective, whether that's increasing revenue, improving customer experience, reducing operational costs, strengthening compliance, or helping employees make better decisions. When executives begin with business outcomes instead of technology capabilities, AI becomes much easier to prioritize because every initiative can be evaluated against measurable organizational goals. The next question is whether the organization is actually ready for that initiative. A high value opportunity isn't always the right place to begin. Imagine a project that could potentially save millions of dollars but requires clean enterprise data, new governance policies, significant workflow redesign, and workforce retraining. Compare that with a smaller initiative that improves internal reporting, builds organizational confidence, and creates early momentum within 3 months. The second product may produce less immediate financial value, but it often creates the foundation that makes larger transformation possible. Executive leadership isn't simply choosing the biggest opportunity, they are choosing the right sequence of opportunities. Finally, remember that every initiative consumes limited organizational resources. Leadership attention, technical talent, subject matter expertise, funding, change management capacity, and employee energy are all finite. Organizations that attempt to launch 10 AI initiatives simultaneously often slow every one of them. Organizations that focus on two or three strategically aligned initiatives usually move faster because everyone understands what success looks like and can direct their efforts toward shared priorities. Good roadmaps are as much about saying not yet as they are about saying yes. A commercial bank identified more than 20 potential AI use cases across lending, fraud detection, customer service, marketing, and internal operations. Rather than pursuing all of them, the leadership ranked each opportunity based on business value, implementation complexity, workforce readiness, and strategic importance. They selected three initiatives that shared common data and operational dependencies, creating measurable business improvements within the first year while establishing a stronger foundation for future expansion. Your leadership action is to review your AI initiative list. For every project, ask which business objective does this directly improve. If the answer isn't immediately clear, that initiative may not yet deserve executive priority. Now, a roadmap isn't simply a list of projects arranged by date. It's a sequence of organizational decisions that increases the probability of successful transformation. One of the reasons AI initiatives struggle is that organizations often implement technology before preparing leadership, employees, workflows, and governance. They expect technology to create organizational change when in reality, organizational change is what allows technology to create business value. The sequence matters because each stage strengthens the next. I encourage executives to think of transformation as building a house. You wouldn't install windows before pouring the foundation or begin decorating before the structure exists. AI transformation works the same way. Leadership creates the vision and establishes priorities. People develop the knowledge and confidence to work differently. Business processes are redesigned to take advantage of new capabilities. Governance ensures decisions remain responsible, consistent, and aligned with organizational objectives. Only then does technology become fully integrated into everyday operations. Skipping any of these steps usually creates expensive rework later. This doesn't mean every department must move at exactly the same pace. Different business units will naturally mature at different rates. The roadmap provides flexibility while maintaining overall organizational alignment. Some teams may already be ready to execute while others are still preparing their workforce or improving governance. Executive leadership ensures that every department understands where it fits within the broader transformation journey so that progress remains coordinated rather than fragmented. A manufacturing company planned to deploy AI powered quality inspection across all production facilities simultaneously. Executive leadership recognized that frontline supervisors had not yet been trained to interpret AI recommendations or adjust operational procedures. They delayed their technology rollout by 8 weeks, focused first on leadership coaching and workflow redesign, and ultimately achieved significantly higher adoption rates with fewer production disruptions. Your leadership action is to map one major AI initiative against these five questions. Have leaders aligned? Are people prepared? Have workflows changed? Is governance defined? Are we ready to scale? The first unanswered question usually identifies your next executive priority. Now, every successful AI transformation I've observed has one characteristic in common. Executives remain aligned long before and after the kick meeting. Alignment isn't achieved by approving a strategy document once a year. It's maintained through continuous conversations about priorities, trade offs, resource allocation, and organizational performance. AI transformation touches nearly every function within an organization. Finance evaluates investment decisions, operations redesigns workflows, HR develops workforce capabilities, Technology implements solutions, legal oversees governance, and business leaders focus on customer outcomes. Without executive alignment, every department naturally optimizes for its own objectives instead of organization's overall success. One practical way to strengthen alignment is to establish clear ownership for every major decision. Who approves new AI initiatives? Who determines implementation priorities? Who measures business outcomes? Who resolves conflicts between departments? These questions may seem operational, but they are actually leadership questions. When decision rights are unclear, projects slow down because teams wait for approvals, duplicate work, or make inconsistent decisions. Strong governance isn't about creating bureaucracy, it's about enabling faster and more consistent execution. Executive reviews should also evolve as transformation progresses. Rather than discussing isolated project updates, leadership teams should regularly evaluate whether the roadmap is still aligned with changing business conditions. New regulations, economic pressures, customer expectations, workforce capabilities, and competitive dynamics all influence transformation priorities. A roadmap should be viewed as a living leadership document that guides executive decision making rather than a static implementation schedule. Organizations that revisit their roadmap regularly remain more adaptable as the technology and business needs continue to evolve. A national insurance company launched multiple AI initiatives with separate executive sponsors. While each project made progress individually, conflicting priorities delayed enterprise wide implementation. Leadership established a cross functional AI steering committee with clearly defined decision rights, shared performance metrics, and monthly roadmap reviews. Within 6 months, executive alignment improved significantly. Duplicate efforts declined, and AI investments became more closely tied to strategic business objectives. Your leadership action is to ask your executive team if two departments disagree on which AI initiative should receive funding first, who makes the final decision? What criteria will they use? If there isn't a clear answer, your roadmap needs stronger governance before execution begins. Throughout today's session, we've talked about why organizations lose momentum, how executives should prioritize initiatives, and why sequencing matters. Now, I'd like to bring those ideas together into one executive planning tool, the AIRE AI Transformation Roadmap Canvas. Notice that I didn't call it a project plan. This isn't designed for project managers, it's designed for executives and their teams who need to make better strategic decisions before implementation begins. The purpose of this canvas is to ensure every AI initiative starts with business value and remains aligned with organizational priorities throughout the transformation journey. The canvas asks leaders to answer 5 questions. First, what business outcome are we trying to achieve? Revenue growth, operational efficiency, customer experience, risk reduction, or workforce productivity. Second, which strategic priorities does this initiative support? Third, is our organization actually ready to succeed considering leadership alignment, workforce capability, governance, workflows, and available resources? Fourth, what major milestones will demonstrate progress over time? Finally, how will we measure business success rather than technology activity? These questions don't replace implementation planning, they create executive clarity before implementation begins. One of the biggest benefits of this approach is that it creates a common language across the leadership team. Finance begins evaluating investments using the same objectives that operations uses to redesign workflows. HR aligns workforce development with transformation priorities. Technology understands which initiatives deserve attention first. Instead of every department creating its own roadmap, executives create one shared roadmap that guides organizational decision making. The implementation details will naturally become more complex over time, but executive alignment begins with a surprisingly simple set of questions. A regional healthcare network required every proposed AI initiative to be presented using a common executive roadmap canvas. Projects that previously focused almost on technology entirely Now began with business outcomes, organizational readiness, executive sponsorship, and measurable success criteria. Leadership found it significantly easier to compare opportunities, allocate resources, and explain priorities across departments. Your leadership action is to choose one active AI initiative. Before discussing technology, ask your leadership team these 5 questions. What business outcome are we solving? Why is this strategically important now? Are we organizationally ready? What milestones define success? How will we measure business impact? If your executive team struggles to answer these questions consistently, your roadmap needs greater clarity before execution. Now, building a roadmap is only the beginning. Maintaining it is where executive leadership becomes more valuable. I've seen organizations create impressive transformation plans that quickly become outdated because business priorities changed, leadership responsibilities shifted, or new technologies emerged. None of those events are unusual. AI is evolving rapidly, markets continue to change, and organizations must adapt. The purpose of a roadmap isn't to predict the future perfectly, it's to provide enough structure that leaders can adjust confidently without losing strategic direction. The second reason roadmaps fail is that organizations gradually return to reactive decision making. New opportunities appear, departments request additional funding, vendors introduce exciting capabilities, and executives naturally want to respond. Before long, the original roadmap begins expanding with additional initiatives that were never part of the original priorities. Resources become fragmented, leadership attention is divided, and employees receive mixed signals about what matters next. Strong executive teams revisit the roadmap regularly, but they don't change it every time something new appears. They use it as a decision making framework rather than simply a planning document. Finally, remember that AI transformation is not measured by how many initiatives you launch, it's measured by whether those initiatives improve business performance over time. A roadmap should evolve as the organization learns, but its purpose remains constant. Helping leaders allocate resources wisely, align departments around shared priorities, and continuously strengthen organizational capabilities. The roadmap itself doesn't create transformation, executive leadership does. The roadmap simply provides a discipline that keeps the organization moving in the right direction. A global logistics company created a 2-year AI roadmap that initially delivered strong results. After several executive leadership changes, departments began adding independent AI initiatives outside the roadmap. Within a year, duplicate technology investments increased, implementation timelines slipped, and business performance plateaued. Leadership re-established quarterly roadmap reviews, aligned investment decisions to strategic priorities, and restored executive accountability. The roadmap once again became the organization's primary decision making tool rather than a document stored on a shared drive. Your leadership action: ask your executive team, when was the last time you reviewed our AI roadmap as a leadership team? If the answer is we haven't or it's been several months, schedule that conversation before approving another AI initiative. As we conclude today's session, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. AI transformation isn't a race to implement the most technology, it's a leadership journey that requires thoughtful decisions, disciplined execution, and continuous learning. Organizations that create lasting competitive advantage don't necessarily move the fastest. They move with clarity. They know which problems matter most, which initiatives deserve attention first, and how to align people, processes, governance, and technology around common business objectives. A roadmap provides that clarity. If today's discussion has highlighted opportunities within your own organization, your next step isn't to build a 100-page transformation plan. It's to begin asking better executive questions. Are we solving the right business problems? Have we chosen the right priorities? Are our leaders aligned? Is the organization ready for the next phase of transformation? These conversations create the foundation for stronger execution long before the execution begins. The roadmap isn't valuable because it predicts every step. It's valuable because it helps leaders make better decisions as conditions continue to change. Here are the final executive takeaways for today. Number one, AI transformation is a leadership journey, not a technology project. Business strategy should always drive AI priorities. A roadmap helps organizations sequence change successfully. Executive alignment creates faster and better decisions. And lastly, sustainable business results come from disciplined execution. And today's final question is, if you became CEO of your organization tomorrow, what is the one leadership decision you would make first to create a clearer AI transformation roadmap for your business? Thank you for joining another AI Revenue Engine Masterclass. I look forward to seeing you in our next executive session.